I'm Patrick Bailey with iQlist.com. Today is April 14th, 2018, and in this video I'm going to be doing a quick overview, a quick introduction to TInkercad, an online 3D design tool. Okay, what is TInkercad? Why do I want to learn it, and what other choices are out there? So TInkercad is an online 3D design tool. It's all web-based, so it's kind of cool that you can sign up for it and use it and actually make some 3D designs. Now, why I'm even bothering looking at it is I'm doing a lot of 3D printing on my Prusa i3 Mark III, and I'm trying to teach my kids how to 3D print. And as part of that, and also for myself, I want to actually start designing things, creating things, not just merely downloading things off Thingiverse and other sites and printing them, which is lots of fun, but I also want to figure out how to design. So as I'm going down this journey, one of the first things I came across for design was Fusion 360. And being an old AutoCAD guy, I haven't AutoCADed in a long, long time. I saw that Fusion 360 was owned by Autodesk, and they're the makers of AutoCAD. I saw design here. This must be a great design tool because they make great design tools that are used in industry and can be used to, design space shuttles and rockets and cars, electronics. They're very, very powerful. So I said, well, if they've got a free version of this, then well, duh, this is the way to go. And I still believe that. I think it's a great tool, and that's what I'm mainly using, and I like it a lot. And I've got my son learning it. He's 14, and it's been working out great so far. I'm getting up to speed on that, learning a lot of things, watching a lot of videos from a YouTuber called Lars Christensen, and I'm learning a lot. And I thought, that's the only tool I need. Done. Let's learn this. But through that, I've actually found some other tools that have legitimate reasons to be around and to learn. Another tool was OpenSCAD, which is design as code. And so I did a video on that, and I'll probably do some more. It's a really cool tool where you can, you basically, as code, tell what your design is. Like, draw a circle over here, and then put a square over here, and then subtract a triangle from here. And so it's very programmatic, which means you can version it very easily and have it very repeatable. A lot of cool things you can do with that. And I thought, okay, cool, I got Fusion 360. I got this OpenSCAD tool that I'm learning more about, and there seems to be a reason for both of them. Okay, I'm done. What else is there? If there's another design tool out there, I doubt they're going to beat Fusion 360. If there's another OpenSCAD kind of thing out there, that might be tempting because OpenSCAD has a few, it doesn't render the fastest, but once it renders it, you can view things really quickly. So maybe there's something out there like that. I'm not aware of anything else yet right now. But I thought, done. And then I started looking around. I found this thing called TInkercad, which is actually now owned by Autodesk. So it comes from the same company, and they try to do some similarities between them. They're very different than Fusion 360. Very different tool. But some of the tools are similar enough that if you learn TInkercad and you go to Fusion 360, you're not quite as lost. But now I see a total place for TInkercad, a simple 3D design tool, because as I was having classes with my children, and by the way, we homeschool. I have a 10-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old son, and my 10-year-old daughter, she was learning Fusion 360, and I think she can kind of do it. And she was going through the lessons and got a few lessons done, and my son was helping her, and she was figuring it out. But it was a little bit beyond her, I think. And so I think, and every kid's different. I'm not saying it's a 10-year-old cutoff or a 14-year-old cutoff. Every kid's different. But I looked up this tool and started fiddling with it and thought, there's a place for this. And so we did a whole week of lessons on TInkercad last week just to show them how to do it and get onto it. And my daughter just jumped all over it. She's like, this is cool. I can do this. This is easier. And I can feel like I've accomplished something. And so I think there's a total place for this TInkercad tool for younger children. And I want to learn it, not for myself. I'm not going to design really anything in here. I'd rather use the Fusion 360. But for teaching, for getting kids up to speed, or for people who haven't installed Fusion 360, don't want to go through all that rigmarole, it's pretty easy for them because this is all web-based. They can get an account, log in, and actually do everything on the web and save it here and then download these files and start printing them on a 3D printer. And it's really cool. I think this is another tool. I thought it would just be the one tool, but now I'm seeing the reason for these three different tools. And I think I'm done, but there might be a fourth tool. I seen or hasn't come out yet or I'm not aware of, but I'm up to 3. Total reason for this. And I'm excited. So I want to learn it so that I can help younger kids actually do something and feel accomplished and not be overwhelmed by a bigger tool like Fusion 360. So with that, let me get started and let me just go make a simple design on here and actually print it out on my 3D. Make a simple design, export it as an STL file, and then get it set up to actually print on my Prusa i3 Mark III printer. So let me get going. Okay, so here I am logged into Tinkercad, and I'm not going to go through the sign-up process. It's fairly easy. Now, if you already have a Fusion 360 account with Autodesk, you can just, that's your username and password. You can use that to log into Tinkercad. You have an account already. But if you don't have an account, it's pretty simple to sign up. You do have to be 13 years old. If you're not, then you have to have a guardian or a parent sign up for you, which I did. And so I'm not going to go over it in this tutorial, but I do have my daughter underneath my account. So I have some controls over her. I think I actually can update her password so she forgets her password. Don't quote me on that, but she's under my account. So when we had to request that, we had to put my email in. And so she has her own account and login, but it's under my parental control. So that's really cool. But with that, let me go over some simple overview of kind of how this works and actually make a little simple thing. So here we have, our work plane. So we can actually come from here. We can actually just start going over here on the basic shapes and just drop in shapes. Just start dropping shapes in. And then from here, you can actually simply just fiddle and click around and start moving things around. And now if you're familiar with Fusion 360, you'll see as I move this around, you see in this square, you see these 2 numbers change. Well, I can click on them just like I could in Fusion, and similar to Fusion 360. And I can just, rather than fiddle and move things around, which is perfectly fine, but if I want to be a little more precise, I can type numbers in. So I could type in 15, and similarly to in Fusion 360, I can hit Tab, and it goes to the next available entry that if I need to put another entry in. So I can hit 45, and there we go. Also, I could sit here and adjust the height and change that one by hand if I wanted to too. So it's got some little cool, simple features. Also, whatever you're clicked on here, I can go change the color. So if I don't want it to be red, I can change it to yellow. And that's probably a good thing, especially for a little kid to do, because they can, if you have some color choices for your 3D printer, they can choose those colors here and visualize it before they actually print it. So that's just really cool. Also up here, you can see this top front, which is your orientation, which is very similar to the tool you see in Fusion 360. But I can go over here and I can click on there, click on right, and I can start to change what I'm looking at. So there's the top, and I can, the only thing I don't see in here, I don't see a way to twist the workboard, so you kind of have to maneuver your way back around to get it back oriented correctly. But yeah, great tool, great design. I can hit the home view here, which will bring me, if I get really messed up, I can always hit the home view and get back to this home view. So let me start to make something. So I'll just make something real simple here. So I'm going to make a little face, but it's going to be a heart body to it. So I can come down here, and there are all kinds of different text and shapes and numbers, but I'm going to go with the basic shapes here right now. And I'll come down here, and there's a little heart. So I can just drag this over here, and boom, a little heart. And then I can start to click on the sides. Let's see, there we go. And figure out how big I want it. And if you're printing out, even though this is probably unitless, that actually ends up being very easily relatable to millimeters. So I can go, okay, I want to make this, let's make it 40 millimeters. Well, let's make it 50. 50 millimeters and 50. And we have this heart that'll be, well, let me make it 70. I think 70 would be a better size. I just happened to recently print out something that was 70 millimeters, so that kind of gives me a thought in my mind about the size. Also over here, I can go click on, let me hit the right sign. And another thing that drives me a little nuts sometimes is this actually has perspective. So I think I can right-click, I can right-click my mouse and I can change my orientation a little bit. But you can see it's got a vanishing point, which is really cool for a view, but can be a little hard for design, for me at least, when I'm on the right side. So you can actually go over here and click orthographic view. And if you do that, and I hit the right side, you can see now there's no vanishing point. All the lines are, it's an orthographic view. All the lines are what they would be on the side, and there's no weird, odd vanishing point. Okay, so here I can change my height. And so here I'll just change it to 10. I think it was 10 before. Okay, but so there's my heart. I kind of got it where I want it. I put it in the center here. There we go. And now I want to make a face on it. So I was fiddling with some ideas on that. And so can come over here and what do I do? I can come over here and get a tube. So let me make some little tube eyes. And so I go, okay, what's about the right size? It's close to right size. Let me make that 25 by 25. Yeah, that's a good size. Okay, now I'm going to do a little secret here. Well, I shouldn't say secret. I want to cut the eye out. So I want to actually have a recess in there. And so what I can do to do that is first I can raise up this guy. So I can click this little black arrow right there. And if I click on that, I can actually drag it up the plane. And I can put it right there. And if I put it right there, it would print out this eye on top. And that's not what I'm going for. So I want to actually have it go in a little bit. So I'll have it go in. Oh, wrong one. Click that black guy again. And so you see this little arrow. So I'm 9 above, 8 above, and 7 above. So it'll cut in 3 millimeters. And then I'll go back to, let me get a top view. Because right now it's actually over to the side. So let me go drag it right there. Kind of center it a little bit. So there's one of my eyes. Now at this point, if I left it, I haven't done anything, so it's not cutting out here. But if I want to cut it out, I can make it a hole. So over here in the shape here, I click this hole button. And it might be a little difficult to see. Let me see if I can... You can kind of see this little 3D design, but it's actually cutting in a little bit. So that's actually cutting in 3 millimeters. And the rest of it that's kind of opaque, that just doesn't count. It's not going to be made because it's a hole. Let me go back to the top here. Let me undo that for a second because I need to rethink my brain on this again. Okay, so we got that. Let me make my... Yeah, let me drag this off a second because I got to try to recall what I did here. Go back to top. What I want to do is also put like an eyeball in there. So let me just go grab a cylinder and stick it in there, but I'll make it smaller. And I can hit the, let's see, control. Shift. Shift so that it's equal as it shrinks down. And let off my mouse button, let off my shift button, and I can put this kind of right there. So I kind of give it like a little eyeball look to it. But then I have to make sure it's in the right spot, because see here it's too low. So I'll raise it up there so that it matches. Okay, so now they're matched together. Let me go to the top, and I think I should be able to grab them both right there, and I should be able to group them. Let's see, there's the group button. So up here, you can see here's the group button, so I just click on it. And so now those can be treated like one object. And so I'll move them right here. And then what I can do is do a Control-C and then a Control-V and make a copy. And so I can put it over here, and so I can have a little goofy eye kind of looking to the side. But like my daughter was showing me, we should probably make it be goofy. So over here you can see, over here there's a little angle here, and as I click on that, I can start to angle it up. Goofy. And so I can sit here and give him some goofy eyes. I think she liked it when I had it looking all the way away. Come on, goofy eyes. There you go, goofy eyes. So now we got some goofy eyes. Now we need to subtract them. So I'll click on that and hit hole. Click on that and hit hole. And so now that should cut out. Then I need a mouth now. So there's this rounded roof shape that'll work great for a mouth. So I can drag that and drop that in. But if I look at it, it's kind of the wrong orientation for a mouth that I want. So I'm going to have to rotate it. So I'll hit this rotate it up like that. 90 degrees, 90 degrees. And I'll bring it up, hit that black arrow up there again. And I'll drag it up to where I have just 3 millimeters in like that. Or I could cut it a little deeper. They don't have to be the same depth. So maybe I'll go a little deeper. We'll go halfway, 5 millimeters. And then it's still offset. So I'm going to have to move it to where a mouth would be. And maybe make it a little bigger. Oh, oops, I moved my heart. I didn't want to do that, so I can hit Control Z to move it back. Or there is this undo button up here too. So undo. And so let me make it a little bigger. And then center it. And now I can make it a little goofy. I can rotate it, right? Or give it a little smirk. Oh, and if you're inside this little circle as they raise this up, it goes by 22.5 degrees, which is nice to have it snap in. But if I want to do a more fine grain, because that might be too much, I can go outside the circle and do it by single digits. That looks pretty good. So we'll hit there. We'll move his little eye over there. How about that? Yeah, good enough. And then I'll click on that and say, okay, we'll make that a hole too, so it'll cut out. Then I'll go back here and click on the heart, and I don't like the color, so let me make it pink. So I'm going to go print it out in pink, and hit home, and right click, and I can kind of rotate things. And there's my design. So now I want to save it and export it, and then try to print it. So I can come up here, and whenever you make a new print, it'll actually give it just some random name. So it's exquisite amberous, which I don't want. So I'll click on that and say cute crazy heart. And so that's the name, and it should automatically save. Let's see, you gonna save? I hope you do. Hit enter. Hit enter. There we go. Okay, so there's my design. Now I just want to export it and 3D print it. So over here I can go hit export and say STL object, because I want it to be an STL. And there it goes. I downloaded it. So now let me bring it up in Prusa Control and create the, use the slicer and create the G code and actually print it out. Oh, and before I do that, your designs, you have all your designs, so I can go click on, design should be saved. This button right there. You click on here. Maybe? Where's my designs? Over here, sorry. Over here I can click on here, and all my designs are saved. So I can actually go back and reopen them from before if I want to, or continue editing. So you can see I've made this heart before a couple of times as a test. And so everything's saved online. So really convenient, kind of cool. Anyway, I'll sing its praises later, but let's go put this in Prusa Control and print it out. Okay, so it's, I got the download here, the cute crazy hearts. I got my Prusa Control open, so let me just drag and drop that STL file on there. And there is my little crazy heart. So he's got little eyeballs all crazy. And you can see his mouth right there. And he's pretty simple, but it's an STL file, so it should just print just fine. So let me just go generate this code. Let me print it out. So hit generate. Oh, wait, I did it on fast. And let me go back. So I kind of want to keep things normal, which is optimal and standard. Okay, let me generate that again. There we go, and this should take, 52 minutes, according to them. It is kind of thick, but you don't have to make it that thick. But, hey, there's the little eyes. You can see they're sunken in. And the mouth goes down further. So let's go save this G code and print it out in pink. Okay, it is done. And there is, let's see if I can get a good angle on it. There is my little silly, crazy heart with the eyes all cross-eyed. That worked out pretty well. Not bad for a first go at TinkercAD. So I'm really happy with the results. And my daughter did something similar to this recently and a few other things. And she found it a lot easier to use. Being 10 years old, Fusion 360 might be a little more advanced in what they're capable of doing, although Fusion 360 is not that bad, so it depends on where your kid's at. As I said before, I got a 10-year-old. It's a little difficult, but she can kind of do it on Fusion 360. I got a 14-year-old doing it no problem. He's still learning, but he's got it. He's figured it out. He likes it. But now with that, the numbers on this. So I like to always give the numbers on how much it costs to actually print this. And so my numbers, we'll start going through it. So first of all, this took 1 hour and 24 minutes to print on my Prusa i3 Mark III. It took 1.1 cents of electricity. And I base my electricity off 10 cents per kilowatt, so it makes it easy for you to adjust it if you want to. Although I found electricity to be a very minor portion of the cost. And then the weight, the amount of filament that this took up was 0.018 kilograms. And at making an assumption of $20 per a 1 kilogram roll, if you do the math on that, that comes out to 36 cents worth of filament. It's kind of easy math to do in that case. You just double it and shift the decimal place over 1. So if you add that all together, you get 37 cents to print this little guy that we designed in TInkercad. So not too bad. So I am, after having done all this and done a week of classes with my kids, I'm excited about TInkercad. I think it totally has a place. And I'm probably going to do some more videos on TInkercad here and there because it is very much a tool that you would want in your homeschool arsenal and in your regular school arsenal to try to introduce people of varying ages and capabilities to 3D printing. And some may stay here and just do a few things. And some may go to more advanced and use Fusion 360 or OpenSCAD to start doing some more advanced designs with some more advanced tools. Although you could still probably do some pretty advanced stuff here in TInkercad. I don't say you're limited, but the tools might be a little more clumsy if you're trying to do something very sophisticated. But you could probably pull it off if you were dedicated or want to take the time. But anyway, so there's TInkercad. Awesome tool. Love it. I'll probably end up doing some more videos on it here in the future. So check it out. Hey, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, hey, give it a thumbs down. Also, if you like what we were doing here, subscribe to the channel by clicking the subscribe button. And lastly, have a piece of info to share? Just post a comment.